Ladies and gentlemen, I guess we are ready with our next most awaited session for the morning. Hi. Start. Right, sure. Shall we start? Yeah, so I would like to request the media to settle down. You can sit and cover the event. Thank you so much. So as you all can see, today we have a truly captivating session lined up for you, featuring three renowned personalities from the entertainment industry and a seasoned moderator. From Bollywood to Turkish drama, that means acting across borders, guys, right? Can we have a big round of applause for the panel today? We have Miss Hande Ercel, Turkish actress. Mr. Ayushmann Khurrana, Indian actor, singer, and performer. Ms. Khushbu Sundar, renowned film personality. We welcome you all on stage. And with our moderator today, Ms. Dilshad Irani, editor, Storyboard 18, Network 18 Media Group.
Thank you very much for the introduction, of course, and I will just, before we begin, a quick sort of take on the theme this morning. Given everything that has happened in, of course, the past few years post-COVID, we've seen this massive boom in content that's going across borders. And that essentially is what we're going to talk about here with in representation from Turkey, of course, and from India to massive entertainment markets across the world. And before I begin getting into the thick of the conversation, Ayushmann, I just want to ask you, the 3 COVID years that we had really changed the game. It changed consumption habits, patterns, what we watched, how we watched. Just look back at that time and tell me your experience, not just as an actor, as someone in the entertainment business, but also as a consumer, as a viewer. How was that experience for you?
Oh my God, I think this really hastened everything. Entertainment industry, content was ever evolving, but the pace was hastened. In these 3 years, I think what we were supposed to achieve in next 10 years, it happened in just 3 years. And of course, initially there was like dearth of supply. Now there's like overwhelming supply. So we're going through that curve right now. At the same time, I guess we have pushed the boundaries of content. Good is not good enough. I think it should be great. Heightened emotions. If it's a small film, it has to be a banger. And I think this is the time where it's the best time to be an artist and best time to be an Indian as well at the same time. So I really believe in that.
So really expectations really changed in those years. And I'm going to ask Hande also this exact same question. Of course, all countries experienced COVID in their own ways, but also in many ways, it was an experience that the world had together. So tell me a little bit about how it changed you as an artist during that time, as well as a viewer of content.
Thank you for asking, but I would like to speak with my own language. Bence ben şuna şöyle bakıyorum, tam insanların düşündüğünün aksine belki de benim için Covid dönemi çok aydınlanılmış bir dönem. Çünkü insanlar bu kadar tüketimin içinde, bu kadar koşturmanın içinde aslında gerek olmadığını bir senede olsa, böyle bir kısa bir dönemde bile olsa aslında ne kadar çok az şeyle yetindiğimizi, bize aslında yeten şeyin sevdiklerimizle bir arada olmamız olduğunu öğretti. Ben o yüzden bu dönemi çok güzel deneyimledim kendimce.
Um, for me, for me, on the contrary, I have realized that as humans, we know how to maintain our lives with very little things instead of the extra things. So for me, this period of COVID has been a period of enlightenment, actually.
Well said. Was that a similar experience for you, Khushbu? Okay, a round of applause for that.
यार उन्होंने बोला ज़्यादा थे, उन्होंने समेट के कम कर दिया थोड़ा सा.
Condensing the thought. But Khushbu, tell me how that experience was for you. And I really want to sort of, I'm asking each of you this because I really want to understand how that experience changed you, not just as a person, but as an artist, as a stakeholder. What was it like?
Hi everyone. I think post-COVID, the biggest game changer was the content, because content became the masters. It wasn't about the star cast, it wasn't about the actors, it was more about what the audience wants. And because of COVID, everybody was at home, the world cinema was at fingertip. So they were able to look at different cinema, the different kind of filmmaking, the different content world over the people were giving, what we have always heard about. It was available to everyone at their fingertip. And I think that was the biggest game changer, where people wanted something similar. You cannot, today, Indian cinema, you cannot give them anything that is mediocre. They want something which is absolutely the best, whether it's content, whether it's the making, whether it's the sleekness, or whether it's action, or whether it's dance or music. They just want the best. So I think we have pushed ourselves to that extent where today we win Grammys and we win the Oscars. So we have shown the world that India is not far and we are at par with them. And the content, where people are looking at content, where we are talking about a film like Drishyam, which is the rights have been brought by a Japanese filmmaker to make that film in Japanese language. So where we used to follow and say, "Arey, यहाँ से थोड़ा सा thought ले लिया, वहाँ से थोड़ा सा inspiration हो गया," and we are building a content and making Indian cinema today. Indian cinema is being made into a foreign language is a huge leap for us, and we say that yes, we have arrived.
Well said, the huge leap. And again, your point, Ayushmann, about India sort of arriving on the global stage. Of course, again, you know, in those years, we saw this massive boom in Korean content. Turkish content, even before that, was on Indian television as well. Of course, streaming changed the game, accelerated that pace. As a representative of the Indian entertainment industry, globally as well, with your work in many parts of the world, with global organizations, including UNICEF, what is from your vantage, you know, what is this sort of India thing that we bring to the global stage when it comes to entertainment?
As an artist, whenever you make content or act in a certain film, you don't have that agenda or an aspiration to touch people globally. When I was in the Time event in Singapore, I reiterated the fact that more local you go, more global is your reach. So I think when you go rooted and touch the roots and give real stories, then the world is more interested in you. Of course, it has become a cultural melting point, but something like Elephant Whisperers in the Oscars, or RRR, or Natu Natu, I think it's kind of exotic for them. Because
is it still exotic? Or
it is. I think it's still exotic because the
don't
format
tell me
of
elephants
song.
and snake charmers. I think we're
No,
beyond
the
that.
Elephant Whisperers I'm talking about, which Guneet was part of.
yes.
I'm talking about that. But still, the concept of song and dance of Indian film industry is so unique and eclectic, which you don't see anywhere else. But Turkish cinema, for example, I think it's a cultural melting pot where it's Eurasia. It's not just only Europe or only Asia. It's probably more progressive than Middle East and more conservative and traditional than the West. So it has a certain connect with Indian masses. So it's very similar like that. That's why it's become more popular in India.
That's a very interesting point you mentioned, Ayushmann, because Khushbu, it's interesting because we are seeing this sort of people embracing their native and local cultures, right? Like Ayushmann mentioned on India, you know, of course there are some stereotypes and all of that, but we're really owning it. We're really owning our culture, and that's the similarity. Do you see that similarity even with, say, Turkish culture and the sort of the entertainment, the films, the series that come out of that? They really sort of own their culture, and it's not about, you know, superimposing a global idea onto their markets, onto their viewers, but really taking their idea of it global. Your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I think until unless we are not proud of our culture or where we come from, our roots, I don't think we can give them the best of anything. So I think when the kind of films that are being made today, or very recently there's a film which was released in Malayalam called Manjumal Boys. It was made in a very small budget of probably single digit, around 8 to 9 crores, but it's the fastest 100 crore club movie in Malayalam. And that is because it's rooted. There's a Telugu film called Balagam, which is a very, very simple story about a grandfather dying and kawa aake wo pind ke din khana khayega ya nahi khayega. But that film has made an enormous growth. So, you know, the kind of impact we leave on the people, it's always about what we are giving back where we come from. It's fine to ape the West. One concept which I never understand with the Western horror films is, you have a ghost in the house.